When you're thinking about spending some money to upgrade a computer's memory, there's a lot of questions to ask. Maybe how much memory do I need? How much memory can my computer physically accommodate? What increments does the system board support? How much additional memory is cost effective? What kind of memory fits into the system board? And what memory is compatible with the memory that I already have installed? Well, it really depends. It really depends on the computer that you have, and it really depends on the system board in that computer. So my best recommendation is to search the internet. There is a tremendous amount of information on the manufacturer sites for both the computers and the system boards, and there will be certain types of memory that you will have to buy for a particular computer in order for it to work properly. Things to look for, though, would be memory speed. There may be different speeds of memory that would be compatible in your computer, but you want to get the fastest speed, especially if you already have some memory in the computer that is a faster speed. Because if you put a slower speed of memory into the computer, even if that memory is compatible with the faster memory that's already installed, the resulting speed will be the speed of the slower memory, not a mixture of the two. In other words, the strength of the chain is the strength of its weakest link. It's the same way with memory. You also don't want to mix tin and gold leads. There's a reaction that happens when we mix tin and gold leads, and it can cause the metal to corrode. We want to make sure that the memory is the correct size. Not only that it's the correct size that will fit into the board, but also that it's the correct size so that it will fit around the other pieces. Sometimes memory goes under something, and everything can be right about a memory module except that it stands just a little bit too high. Don't ever try to force anything into a computer. Everything ought to fit pretty easily. If you have to push very hard on anything to get it back into place, then something's wrong. And it's possible to have a memory module that isn't quite right for a computer, and therefore another card, like a riser card, can't go back into place where it's supposed to go. Don't force it. Get the right memory. As far as remanufactured and used modules or remarked chips, my recommendation is buy new memory. But there are ways to save money if you're buying a lot of memory by buying remanufactured or remarked chips. A common ad for memory would look like this. It would list the number of pins that the memory has, the speed of the memory in milliseconds, the size of the memory, and the type of module that the memory uses. So let's talk about some do's and don'ts when we actually install a memory. Protect the chips against the static electricity. A lot of people don't take that seriously, but it's certainly worth taking seriously because electrostatic discharge can be a tremendous damage to memory and other devices in the computer. As we talked earlier, the processor and the memory typically run off of 3.3 to 5 volts. When you walk across carpet and drag your feet and then shock yourself on the doorknob, which everybody's done that, you're discharging somewhere in the neighborhood of 20,000 volts. Now, there's not enough amperage in it, and we'll talk about that later in this training. There's not enough amperage in it in order to hurt anybody, but there's enough amperage in it to fry a memory chip quite easily. So protect chips against static electricity. and we'll talk more about static electricity when we talk about electricity. Use a ground bracelet. It's not a bad idea to use a ground bracelet whenever you get inside a computer. At least ground yourself to the computer case. Turn the power off and remove the cover to the case. The first plug that should come out, the first connector that should come out when you start to work on a computer is the power. It should also be the last connector to go back in. Handle memory modules with care. You can break them. Ground yourself before unpacking or picking up the card. And of course, don't stack the cards on top of each other. That's another way to let an electrostatic discharge jump from one card to another, and it could also scratch the pins on the cards. So in summary, we've talked about the types of memory that are in a computer, how the operating system uses the memory located on the system boards, how to manage memory to meet the needs of the software that you're using, and then how to upgrade the RAM on your computer. Now, in our next chapter, we'll talk about data storage.